And Betsey Stevenson is professor of economics at the University of Michigan. Okay, folks, welcome. Michael, why don't you go ahead and take first dibs at this, and then we're going to listen to Betsey, what she thinks these numbers say. Michael, you first.
This is a surprisingly strong jobs report. I was anticipating that we've got a pretty tight labor market. I'm just surprised at where the workers are coming from. We're not seeing a large growth in the civilian population for the immigration reasons that Steve just alluded to. So the fact that we're seeing 170,000 jobs created 3 months in a row, I'm just surprised that we're not having a reduction in the unemployment rate coming out of this, because it seems like we've got tight labor supply. There's plenty of jobs out there that are being filled. The wage rate stayed low. I think a lot of that is a compositional effect. If the job growth is coming in healthcare and in leisure and hospitality, that's generally going to bring down the average wage level. So I think for people in jobs, they're seeing wage growth. And if we add jobs at the lower end of the income distribution, that's going to mask some of the wage gains that are being realized. Overall, if I were back at Treasury, if I were in the White House, I'd be strongly celebrating this. In terms of the effect on interest rates, I don't see this as contributing at all to a thought to raise interest rates. Yes, the economy is strong, but we do not see wage growth. We do not see wage gains or inflation anticipation coming out of this report.
But inflation is already running above expectations.
It's running above expectation largely because of the run-up in energy prices that, again, depending upon the resolution of the war in Iran, that could reverse very quickly. And so until I see resolution on that, I don't think that the Fed should be moving at all.
Betsey, your thoughts?
You know, this is definitely a great jobs report, but I think everyone's jumping the gun a little bit to think we're going to get this kind of job growth going forward. You know, 55,000 out of local government. I don't think local government's going to continue to hire at that rate. You know, we will continue to see healthcare hiring. You know, we got another roughly 50,000 in healthcare. I bet that's ongoing. But that leisure and hospitality, you know, my best guess is that a lot of companies had been sort of waiting to see what the summer's going to look like. And what we're learning is consumers are remarkably resilient in this economy, and they're ready to dip into their savings, to use their credit card, to get out there and have their summer vacation. And so we saw, you know, what may be an actual catch up in hiring and leisure and hospitality to get ready for that summer season. So, you know, I think the market's jumping the gun and saying we're going to see rate hikes. You know, if I was joining the cheeseburger bet, my bet would also be that it's going to be a hold this year rather than a hike. But I don't think a cut's coming anytime soon. And I'm going to point one weakness out that no one's mentioned, which is the rate of growth of long-term unemployed, people unemployed for 6 months or more. That is continuing to grow, and we're seeing unemployment duration overall continuing to grow. So this is still a low-hire labor market, even though we're seeing, you know, some pretty good and healthy job growth, which means people can find jobs if they stick to it and keep looking. But it's not an easy task, and it's taking people longer to find those jobs.
Okay,
You're
Rick.
exactly right. Oh, my goodness. She's exactly right. This long-term, you know, people that are not looking for work are falling out of the program because they're not part of the labor force. They're not working. They're not looking. This is really a serious issue. And I do want to point out, Joe, the Dow futures now are up 70 points. So even though the market has priced this in, maybe the market's pricing in that it's not going to stop. And the only thing I didn't agree with that last guest is that this may stop. Okay, now it's, you know, various local governments. Next month it'll be something else. Last month it was something else. There's different pockets of the economy that I think will continue to contribute to strong jobs numbers down the road.
Rick, someone points out that SNAP benefits, the requirements don't expand on June 1st, but June 1st, this is the first month where people could lose benefits because of non-compliance with the requirements. That all this is in the OBBB. Would that change the participation rate in your view, eventually?
I think it will. I think it will in a subtle way. And this administration is obviously very aware, based on what you just pointed out. And I hope that there's other issues that are brought forth. Remember, the Obama administration did the same thing. We need various litmus tests for our very generous entitlements. There's many out there, handicapped, elderly. They need some help. I get it. But there's a whole lot of others that really don't.
Okay. Betsy, you want to jump back in on that? This is Rick agreeing with you. Is that the right way of going about it?
Well, what I have seen is a labor market for really the last year and a half, since January of 2025, where 86% of the jobs have gone to women, and it's because the vast majority of our job growth has been in healthcare. And so it's not that it's coming from one sector this month and another sector the next month. What we're seeing is a labor market that is primarily being driven by healthcare jobs. And that is not a labor market that is as strong as it could be in terms of providing that robust job growth across the board. The goods producing sector is basically flat over the year, the entire sector. Sure, we saw a little bit of growth this month. That's great. But where we've seen job growth over the last year has been only in one place: healthcare. And I want to see a diffusion index that is a lot better in order to think that our labor market's as strong as it could be.